Welcome to The Woodshed with Cody Wood right here on the Equus Radio Network. This is a place for honest talk with real stories from some amazing guests. Here we talk about life, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. From small town roots to big dreams, from the rodeo arena to the back porch, we dive into what makes us who we are. So whether you're chasing 8 seconds or just trying to make it through the day, you've got a spot right here in The Woodshed. Here's your host, Cody Wood.
Well, welcome back, everybody. This is The Woodshed with Cody Wood on the Equus Radio Network. I have got a fantastic guest in store for you here today. We're going to take things to the comedy stage right here. Aaron Fleck out of Peyton, Colorado, outside of Colorado Springs. Aaron, how's it going, man?
Good. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing good, dude. It's great to see you, and I'm looking forward to catching up and just kind of learning a little bit about what you've been doing and where your path has brought you here to comedy and where you see your future in comedy going, man. So, because it's been a wild ride that you've had over the course of your life.
Yeah, that's no joke. You've been there for it too.
Yeah, exactly. But so when you look back at it, and here you are right now. So just so everybody knows, kind of up and coming, comedian here in the Colorado scene and, Denver, Colorado Springs primarily. And so right now you're right in the middle of the New Faces of Denver competition, made it out of round 1, looking forward to getting round 2 scheduled, so in a short period of time, you've made it an awful, just a big leap here in the comedic world or whatnot. And so, I mean, you've always seemed to have obviously loved this. I feel like we watched Eddie Murphy, Delirious and Raw over and over again for, decades or whatnot. But are you shocked of where you're at right now and in any shape or form here coming into your 40s?
Yeah, big time. It's one of those things where if I would have gone back a year, and then told myself like, you'll be doing shows and have, 15 minutes of material and be entered in the New Faces contest down at Comedy Works and even make it to the second round is, one of those things where I never would have believed it.
Yeah.
If somebody would have told me, if somebody would have looked into the future, I'd have been like, there's no way. But yeah, it's amazing. I'm feel blessed.
Yeah. Well, and it is. And it's funny how life works, man, because, when people will, focus, right, and really get passionate about something or really get behind a goal and an initiative and a lifestyle that they want to live, it's amazing, what somebody can achieve. And, you've always had the ability to win at certain things and whether it's athletically, playing football or, musically, and you've been the lead singer of a band in the past, so there's certain aspects in life that you've been super talented at. So not surprised that you're here at this place, but you've had some bumps in the road too to get here, and
Yeah.
I think that's another big testament to, while you're able to succeed so quickly, so, I've had a little bit of alcohol, a little bit of drug problems in the past, a little partied a little harder than you probably should have. And it's amazing what a sober life will do for a guy.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You can chalk it all up to sobriety. Because I had the football thing going, playing up at UNC Greeley, and then got in trouble, had to go to jail, had to tell the coach that I was going to miss practice for a week because I was going to be in jail. So I got, failing all my classes due to drinking. So that ended the whole football thing and college thing. And then same with the band. Band was going great, but, of course, I'm just over excessive with the drug use and the drinking the entire time. And when you're doing that, while you're trying to come up, it's obviously not going to work. You're supposed to get your drug habits after you've made it, right? Not during.
Yeah.
I'd show up to the gigs and a couple shows I was blacked out. I don't even remember playing the show, and I'm hitting the wrong chords during the songs, and the band members are pissed. And now finally, at age 42, I get sober, and now I'm, almost 44 a year. I've been sober a year and a half, and look what I'm, if I can just keep on this path, at least won't have any regrets, and I'll be happy that I at least tried something and actually was able to give 100% without that drugs and alcohol in the way, Yeah,
exactly. And then to have that follow through, I think that it's gonna Because that's just it. And if somebody as talented as you are, it's guaranteed, it's not a matter of if you'll succeed. It's just a matter of how far, and how high, your ceiling might be. And in my mind, man, it's extremely high. There might not even be a ceiling, and you can just take this thing all the way, So right now, like I said, so you've just gotten after it, right? You've been doing what it was April of 2024 was your first stand up, right?
Yeah,
Essentially,
right. The first time I did the open mic.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, so right now here we are, July of 2025, so not even a full 18 months, not even a full year and a half. And
right.
Here you are right now, you've hit up every open mic possible, it seems like, in Colorado Springs, over the course of that year plus, and just have really put in the time into this craft.
And that's what it takes, is just the more you can get on stage, and actually sitting down and writing jokes, which I need to work on more. But I also own a landscape business, so with all that, you get home, you're so tired, but you just gotta put in the extra hours. That's what it takes. You listen to all these people that have done great things, and it didn't just fall into their lap.
Yeah.
They had a plan, they had a work ethic, they put in the hours, and
yeah.
So,
and it didn't happen overnight, where some people might think they're an overnight success. That is rarely, if ever, the case, and so, and it seems like you've met a lot of really cool people, a lot of people that have, just kind of been a great team aspect and helped you a little bit and writing with and that sort of thing, so got to be pretty interesting, the different folks that you've come across and become, friends with essentially throughout this journey over the last year.
Yeah, no, it was nice. It was nice how accepting they were, because you first go to your open mic and you're in the scene, and all the comedians, they all know each other because they've been doing it years and years. And I show up, I'm 42 years old. I don't look like a comedian necessarily. You're like typical stand-up comedian, and at first, they're kind of like, who is this guy? And then you just keep going, and like I said, being sober helps, because obviously if I'd be drinking, we know how that go down. But they've all been really cool, and now I'm good friends with a lot of good comedians: Ashton Wayne, Joe Cruz, Lusso, David Gamble's really cool to me, and he's been doing this forever. But it's nice. Like I said, I'm just so surprised that I'm even friends with these comedians, because I don't know. It's just it's definitely took me by surprise just to kind of get in the scene like that, and then be kind of one of the local comedians. It's really cool.
Yeah, it is. And it's surreal too. Like I said, I mean, we just talked about it, but just the time frame in which you've been able to do it, I mean, definitely, shows that you've put in the time and have worked at it. But, when you look at comedy and where it's at right now, I think that it might be at the height, right? Between, social media and memes and the ability just for these folks that probably long overdue to get the exposure, the money, and things that stand-up comedians, should be warranted, because if you look at it, I mean, whether you're a rock star or a surfer, or look at some of the really difficult things that people can do in life, stand-up comedy might be at the very top of that list.
Right.
As, just sheer difficulty and just the nerve to get up there and try to make people laugh.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Because like you said, with music, for instance, like if you're a famous band, you play one of your hits, everybody's going to love it, or even one of your newer songs. I mean, it's the audience is there to listen to music. But yeah, with comedy, I've told a joke that's absolutely crushed in some rooms, and then you say the same exact joke, and it's crickets, and it's just wild. It's just a matter of, I don't know. Sometimes it could be, in the comedian's stage presence, maybe for some reason you're just not connecting with the audience. Maybe you just rubbed them wrong right out of the gate. But it's definitely a craft, and it's up there for one of the most difficult, for sure.
Yeah, I know. And you listen to a lot of Joe Rogan or whatnot, and just some of the things that he says and some of the guests that he has on, it really gives you a good insight of those challenges and what they might have to deal with. Like I said, whether you're doing a corporate event or, doing a room at Comedy Works full of 20 of your wild ass friends, so
yeah,
it definitely some different atmospheres to deal with for sure. But
Yeah.
so like when you going back through it, like I said, obviously I know you extremely well, and I'd have to imagine that Eddie Murphy would be at the top of the list when you look at maybe comedians that you appreciate or love, but now that you're really getting involved in this, now there's so many comedians that are out there. I mean, who might you look at right now that you kind of steal some stuff from, whether it's their stage presence or what have you? Do you got anybody like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, sort of my style. Yeah, obviously, I had Eddie Murphy Delirious memorized word for word, and Louis C.K. is one of my faves. Bill Burr, but one of the local comedians who's a really, really well-known local is Ben Roy, and he's also sober. So our materials sort of on the same line, sort of on the same subject.
Yeah.
And he's got a real, I'm kind of energetic. He's a lot more energetic than me. But when I first saw him, I was kind of like, oh wow, that's kind of when I watch Ben Roy, it's that's definitely the type of comedian that I'd like to be. Just because
Yeah.
I mean, he just rocks the shit out of those rooms, man. If you ever get a chance to see him, he's something else. But yeah, that's my local favorite for sure.
Yeah, that's cool, man. It's good to have people like that, I mean, whether it's the very top or like I said, somebody that you're just around all the time and you get to see all the time. I just feel like there's so many things that you can take away, from just learning.
Watching.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, for sure. And a lot
soaking
of
it all in.
a lot of comedians, they'll go to shows and then they'll do their set and then they'll kind of just go socialize, and I do it too, but it helps so much if you can sit down and just watch every single comedian. It just helps the process because you might get an idea, or
Yeah.
you see kind of how they're doing things. And I mean, the more you sit there and watch it, the better, the more it helps for sure. So I try
Yeah.
to make it a point to really sit down and watch all the comedians, even at the open mics.
Yeah. Yeah,
Sit there and
absolutely.
watch just everybody.
Yeah, for sure. I know it's so funny. I was at the PBR World Finals, in Fort Worth in May,
Yeah.
and went to a couple of the rounds, a couple of the performances. And I'm by myself, I mean, yeah, obviously I know people there and everything else, but as far as that performance went, two different times I literally just bought one ticket and I sat there and I enjoyed every second of it because obviously I love production and the whole thing, not just announcing. But it was funny because the people I'm sitting around, they're all having drinks, and you could tell they're there to have fun, and I was obviously having fun too. But I mean, I sat there and focused on every word those announcers said. I focused on every transition in the production, and enjoyed every second of it, and probably took more away from that than just about anything. But it's just hilarious, those people. I could tell they're sitting next to me, and about halfway through, they're like, "So what are you doing here?" Like,
Yeah.
like, what do you
Yeah,
got
it's
going? Like,
true.
yeah,
Dude, that's how people get inspired. Like I'm sure every great band, they got influenced by some song they heard.
yeah,
And every time when they wrote their first song, they kind of didn't steal it, but they were inspired by something. Same with comedians, announcers, even football.
yeah,
When we were younger, you watch Barry Sanders run, you watch Walter Payton and all those guys, and you kind of watch their moves, and you're not necessarily nearly as good as them, but definitely watching the greats in
yeah,
anything is that's why all this rollout with AI. Like there was this, I was listening to Rogan, or no, I think it was Matt Walsh, and there was a band that just had a hit song and everybody was liking it, downloading their music. Well, they started looking into it and they couldn't find any members, or when they started, turns out it was AI. It was an
yeah,
AI band. And right when they figure out it's AI, they're kind of like, you're disappointed because it's like, well,
yeah,
because there's no soul, or there's no,
yeah.
so
No heart
it's
to
just
it.
a computer. So it's almost, that's why it'll, in our aspect with announcing, comedy, music, sports, obviously that'll be untouched by AI because people want to be inspired by the human spirit.
Yeah,
No matter how good of a song it is, if it's written by a computer, it almost makes it not even that good because it's
yeah.
like, of course it can. It's a computer.
Yeah, no,
you know?
exactly. I know it. You're exactly right. And having those, like I said, the very greatest people on the planet to follow after, because a lot of times it doesn't even come down to their stage presence and their jokes and all that. Sometimes it comes down to, how are they off stage and interacting with the other comedians? How do they interact with venue, and how do they interact, with their professional life and their personal life, and what makes them the greatest, because when you start to get, towards the peak of this mountain, that degree of difference is so small, but at the same time so drastic in your step up on that ladder, that those are the little things that really make a difference. And so when you sit there and you watch a comedian and you watch them come off stage, and then again, it's kind of creepy in a sense, but you watch how they interact, you can take so much from that, and like that's what I was doing there at the PBR finals, was just that, like how did they interact with the fans afterwards, or with the other, the rodeo athletes themselves, and the other personnel, and all that, and so, and so right now you've got yourself, so round one, I mean, you just killed it, right? So round one, it's like, how many total contestants are in the new faces of Denver?
I think there was 168 total that were accepted. I think there was like 300 submissions of all the comedians in Colorado. They took 168, and then they did 15 straight weeks. Every Wednesday, 12 comedians would go, and then out of those 12, they'd either pick the top three, sometimes a fourth with a wild card. If the third and the fourth were really close on votes, they'd just take a fourth. So it's been 15 weeks times 3, sometimes 4. So it'll be narrowed down to, they're doing their last week of it's tonight.
Oh,
first round. So there'll be like 50 left, around 50, give or take. And and I don't even know when the second round is. I don't even know what it entails. I know I need to add a minute. So the first round was 5 minutes, and the second round is going to be 6 minutes. And then I think if you advance after that, you do 7, but I'm not even quite sure what the second round entails yet.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to get that date scheduled, and just know, when that's going to be. But like I said, 168, that's a lot, that's a lot of people. And even that night, that you were up, like I said, there's 12 comics. Every one of them was good. I mean, I felt for the first gal a little bit, she was a little nervous and whatnot, but every one of the 12 were really good. And, obviously I might be a little biased, but I wholeheartedly feel like you were the hit of the night. I mean, you really, found your stage presence, interacted with the crowd well, and, it just was a great night for you in general. But like I said, this competition is not easy. And if you go on to round 2, that's really saying something.
Yeah, that'd be insane. Yeah, and it's cool because you hear rumors that the Comedy Works might play favoritism. But they don't, because there was a lot of comedians on that lineup that had been around a lot longer than me, and it's easier for the comedians that live in Denver too, because they're always at Comedy Works. For the comedians up in Colorado Springs or Fort Collins or whatever, you get down there when you can. So the fact that so they do in the vote, they hand out random voting cards to audience members, and they don't even want to hand a voting card to somebody if they know they're here. Like, you came to see me, so they wouldn't give you a voting card. They're trying to just give them to people that were just randomly there to watch comedy, which is cool that they're just doing it. Whoever got the votes and whoever brought it that night. It doesn't mean I'm necessarily better than the other comedians. It's just that night, you had the better set, and that could change from night to night. But it was cool that there weren't any. It doesn't seem like there's any politics playing into advancing to the next round, which is really cool.
Yeah, that is nice, because actually we sat next to a couple of ladies that, I don't know if your comedy was their comedy,
right?
And so but I mean, obviously the room itself was out of control, and so they were the minority in that sense. But yes, to your point though, I think it is nice. I don't think there is a whole lot of politics being played there, which is good. Hopefully they're not doing anything with the votes.
Well, well, in the round I went up with 3 of us made it, right? Me and 2 other guys, and it was 3 white guys. So they're not playing into any of that, because usually you got to throw in a woman, throw keep it
Yeah.
all diversified and everything. So the
Yeah.
fact that it was just straight, three
Yeah.
straight white guys advancing.
Yeah, exactly. And a couple, and the one boy was a big old boy,
Yeah,
So,
he's funny. Yeah, that's Mitch Jones. He's really cool and
yeah,
really nice guy, and yeah, funny as hell.
yeah, he was funny,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, and he had kind of a unique sense of humor. Just his delivery was really subtle, but
Yeah.
impactful for sure. But
Yeah, that's the thing too. They say it like Rogan says it takes a comedian 10 years to even find his voice. And I'm sitting there going, shit. I'm already 43. If I'm 52 years old when I find my
yeah,
voice. So,
yeah,
like you said, just put in double time but yeah, it does. Once you yeah, I guess, from what I've heard, once you find your voice, and then it just becomes easier to write and kind of know what you're good at and
yeah.
all
And then
that stuff.
I'm sure it'll kind of snowball too from there.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
so
Just keep
speaking of that,
working
and that's
on it.
kind of where I was going too, is perfect. Is like, like I said, you maybe a little bit of a later start in a sense, but no better time
Yep.
than the present. But where do you see yourself going in comedy, and what I guess might be your 6 month goal, and then what is like the 5 to 10 year goal?
Yeah. Yeah. 5 to 10 year would be to be, doing it as a living, like
Yeah,
on the road, being like that's your job as your stand-up comedian. But yeah, I want to try to get on Kill Tony and just go light that up. I've been practicing my 1 minute every day. I watch every episode and I know a key thing with that show is have some good when he asks you a question, have something interesting to say.
yeah,
So yeah, that'd be nice to get on Kill Tony. That'd be a goal, but that's a random bucket pull. But yeah, fly out to Austin more, do
yeah.
some open mics, enter
And
that, and
so
yeah, eventually just be a working comedian.
yeah, so the Kill Tony thing, like you have to be there in person, obviously,
Right.
but and
Yeah.
you can't sign up until you're there that day in person, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like 250 comedians standing outside the mothership. You put your name on a list, and then I know I signed out. I went out to Austin with you.
Yeah.
What was that? 3 4 months ago, and
Yeah.
Kill Tony, of course, was at a different venue in a different state that one Monday night I was out there. But Mothership still had an open mic, and yeah, they just call your name right away. They do the draw, and while you're on the street, they call your name. But I think with Kill Tony, they start the show, because he's the one pulling the name. So you hang out in the bar next door, and
Yeah.
then he pulls the name, and they come. Some chick comes in with headphones, and she's like, "Hey, Aaron, you're up!" And boom, it's game on.
I know, man. I wish that could have happened while we were there. But
Yeah,
what a cool thing in general. I mean, that's like I said, that's a great example of comedy, and where it's finally getting a lot of the recognition it deserves is with people like Tony Hinchcliffe and Kill Tony and all
yeah,
that, and everything that's going down in Austin, and providing that platform. Basically creating a Nashville for country music, or whatever the case might be.
yeah, amazing. Yeah, what Joe Rogan's done down there is just amazing for comedians. And he even said, like, I'm married with 2 kids with a landscape business, so I can't really go anywhere. But he's like, if you're a young comedian that really wants to do this and you don't have anything tying you down, move to Austin. Because if you're good, they got open mics going on every single night. Eventually somebody's going to take notice. And,
Yeah.
and next thing you know, who knows, maybe you start getting some time in the mothership. But yeah, if I didn't have anything going on here, or, maybe once my kids graduate or whatever, me and the wife can,
Yeah.
move out to Austin.
Yeah, have a little flexibility, but you're right. Like even
Yeah.
when we were there was a lot of those young guys, and heck, that the headliner, he was far from young. I mean, he was closing in on.
Oh
70.
yeah, that guy. God, I can't remember his name, but now I follow him on Instagram now. Yeah, that guy was wild.
Yeah, he was wild, but so many good, young, talented people, and so
Well,
hopefully,
yeah, it was cool too because we didn't know who we were going to see. You just buy a ticket
yeah,
for the night that we went anyway, because no headliner. So we got to see like 8 comedians all do 10 minutes, and it was just a great variety.
yeah,
Like some of the funniest. I mean, that's 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. It just different faces and different routines and stuff. That was really cool, as opposed to going and seeing an opener and then somebody do 45 straight minutes. It was cool seeing that many comedians in one night.
yeah,
It was
it was
cool.
cool. Well, and
Yeah.
then, but in the next few months, I guess just keep on the grind, and hopefully, get this round 2 scheduled and quite possibly move on from round 2 to round 3 and just see what happens, huh?
Heck yeah. And in the meantime, I'm doing those sober shows too for Second Chance Comedy. Wanted to bring that up too, where the guy Joe Huseman started it, and we just go around to churches and different venues like the Bug Theater in Denver, and in the audience are people that are in sobriety or they've known somebody that struggled with addiction, and it could be people anywhere from 2 days sober to 20 years sober, but they go to watch, and all the comedians on the lineup, they've all struggled with addiction. And it's just, I mean, it's so well received because you can go up there and a lot of people, they hold a lot of, a lot of them are ashamed for their past and whatnot. And to go watch comedians just, because I mean, shit happens. We're only human, so it's nice to watch comedians get up there and just talk, like my whole routine. Just about all the craziness that's happened with.
Exactly. So. But I'm sure, like I said, and they relate, and then they probably laugh their ass off because they couldn't relate to it. So
and then it makes them feel not as like, there shouldn't be a stigma around it so much. It's like we're only human, and I'm just like you. We both battled, and it's in the past, and
doing the best you can and getting better every day.
Right. Exactly.
So then what is the next? Like when are you on stage next? What's the next?
Second Chance Comedy. I think August 8th. I can't even remember the venue, but somewhere in Denver for a second chance sober show.
Okay. When is it? What weekend?
Yeah.
Or what day?
What weekend? I don't know. Yeah, I'm on my phone right now, so I can't check it.
All right, no worries.
I think it's August 8th.
Yeah.
I think it's first week of August or something like that. But that's my next show.
Yeah. Well, and then, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring it up, before we wrap things up, but, a lot of folks might know you or have seen you before and not realized it with you and your dog, with Dylan.
Oh yeah. Yep. I got a famous dog, Dylan, the Rottweiler.
Yeah. So
on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah. He's just something else, man. He's the coolest dog I've ever had in my life. And he's just so vocal. His affection, his purr is him growling and showing his teeth.
Yeah.
So, I do videos of us wrestling around and he's growling in my face, and, and there's a lot of back and forth in the comment section, just like with politics, people saying, oh, that's not good. You're not the alpha. You're letting your dog dominate you. And then other people going, you just don't know how Rottweilers are. You've obviously this is how all yada, yada, yada. And it's funny to watch people argue in the comment section. But people love my dog, Dylan.
Yeah, they do, man. I mean, some of the views, your following has skyrocketed from that and your comedy. And so, folks, if you don't know Aaron Fleck, like I said, follow him on Facebook, follow him on Instagram, follow you on TikTok too. I know you got a little bit of TikTok out there. But we'll get back, meet again, and do this another time after the new faces of Denver, and see how things play out, and catch up with you here soon. But right now, buddy, I sure do appreciate you joining me here today, and I'm just so thrilled and proud of what you've done over the last year and a half, and it's just now getting started, dude. I mean, it is a whole other mountain that you still haven't even accomplished yet that's right in front of you, and I'm sure you're going to. So thank you for being here today.
Heck yeah, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, folks, that's gonna be another one here for the Woodshed with Cody Wood on the Equus Radio Network. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again on the next one.
If you enjoyed the podcast, let us know. Contact Cody Wood at cody@equustelevision.net. Thanks for listening, and join us every week right here on the Equus Radio Network.